So I was talking about, I hope all of you know about your assessment plan. Already we have talked about your assessment, right? About your quiz 1 quiz. It is for 10 marks. It will be there in e-learning. Okay. And you will be having the question type like multiple choice, true or false, or you will be having match, and sometime you will have fill up also. Okay, so this will be your question pattern: multiple choice questions, true or false, match, fill up. There is no short answer, no short answers, no need to worry about that. In e-learning, mostly it will be only for 30 minutes. The durations for your quiz 1, it will be for 30 minutes. It will be activated. I hope already I have given the date for that quiz 1. When we have, it is in second meeting we decided. When is our quiz 1? Dear,
20
tell
of
me.
October.
Yes, good. So we decided 20, 10, 2020. I think it is on Tuesday, same day, right? Like next week by this time you will be having your quiz. Again, I am reminding, it is in e-learning. It will be open only for 30 minutes. It will be open only for 30 minutes. And you need to switch on your camera. I will send the rules.
Star.
I want you to, I will send the rules. Okay, for taking the quiz. And you have to strictly follow that rules. If you are not following the rules, your marks will be reduced. Then you have to take up, and then what are the things you have to do it, I will tell you. Okay, and there is only one attempt, there is no second attempt. Don't get absent for that quiz. You have to log in and you have to do it. I'll tell the time also. Fine, is there any doubt? And then what are the chapters? We have chapter 1 and chapter 2. Okay, is it okay? Chapter 1 and chapter 2, is it fine? Or you want to reduce?
Enough one chapter.
No, no, one chapter, what is there? Okay, fine. In chapter 2 you study up to, in chapter 2 you study up to, I'll tell you, make note of it, how many slides? Okay. In chapter 2 you study up to components of operating system. That is up to slide number. Yeah. Up to this operating system components, up to the operating system components. And one more thing, dear, please don't expect that you will get the questions only from the chapters. It is not only that from this PowerPoint presentation. Do you remember that we are following one book for this one? We have this book. I put it in your e-learning also. Just go through the topic and in the book also. Okay. Mostly you will get the questions from the PowerPoint, but still all the questions will not be from the PowerPoint.
Why,
It will be out of
Mr.
it will be
Why
out of the box.
enough
This is
for PowerPoint?
no. This is out of box thinking. So this is online. Okay, fine.
No,
Just go.
Mr.
Mr. Not like that.
No. Just listen to me.
Mr. What? No. Mr. Not midterm. It's quiz.
Yeah, I know. This is quiz. That's
Mr.
why
No.
you have to.
Next week
You
we
have to.
have a lot of quizzes.
Mr.
Yes.
On Tuesday next week I have 2 quiz.
Okay, dear. I'll consider the PowerPoint presentation. Let us check. We'll see it. Fine. I'll continue with chapter 2. After that, after completing this chapter 2, I'll start taking the practical scenario. I hope all of you studied the basic comments what I told you last week to study and come, and then it will be easy. Any of it is okay. So this is outcome based learning, the outcome 2. Here we have the course objective 1 and the outcome 2. It is discussed here. We are going to discuss about the internal structure of the operating system, the components of operating system and its services, mostly about the components of the operating system and the services. And then what are the topics which we are discussing here is it is introduction to operating system architecture and what is meant by kernel. Last class I told you what is the definition of architecture, what is the definition of kernel, and what is this operating system components. Okay, so what is the definition of architecture here? So architecture, it means it defines the fundamental structure of an operating system, the overall structure of the operating system. It defines the interconnection between the various system components. What are the system components? It is hardware, operating system, programming language, and the application program. Okay, fine. And then we were discussing about what is meant by kernel. What is kernel? Kernel, it is the core of an operating system or the central part of your operating system. It is used to run the programs and provide secure access to the machine's hardware. Inside the operating system, you have the kernel which takes all the commands from the application. During the starting of your operating system, during booting of your operating system, what will happen? The operating system is loaded, okay, and remains there until the system is switched off. Until you're switching off your system, the kernel, it is loaded. Okay, so all the commands, whatever the commands is given by the user, that is, it may be applications, it may be of anything, okay, it may be program, it may be some command. The kernel will decide the usage of the CPU, memory, and the devices. This all these things I have discussed that day. I have shown you about the device manager also, how it works. So what is meant by processor, what is meant by memory, what is the devices, how the processor is accessing those resources. Now come to these operating system components. To study about the operating system, to study about the operating system components. So I told you to just go through the control panel of your operating system. So in control panel, it has been discussed about the security, it has been discussed about the programs, it has been discussed about the user management, it was discussed about the networking, it was discussed about the hardware, everything, right? The same thing like here also we have the operating system components. It is the environment provided by the operating system to run the program and is constructed by the small components. What are the components? The first one is process management. So all these things comes in under each outcome. This process management will be discussing in outcome 3. Memory management will be discussing in another outcome. File management will be discussing in another outcome. Input output management also in another outcome. Mostly the management deals with process, main memory, file storage management, input output management, networking, protection, and then command interpreter. This command interpreter is nothing but it is a command which is given by the user to the operating system. Either it may be of GUI or it may be of CUI. Okay, so this is the command interpreter. Protection, how you are protecting all your resources and how you connect, how one process communicate with the other process, or how one system is communicated with the other system. So these are the components of your operating system. Understand here? Okay. So what are the operating system components? Anyone read it? Read it. What are the systems?
Process management,
Okay, process management.
main memory management,
Okay, main memory management.
file storage management,
Okay, file management or file storage management.
input output management,
Input output management. Then
networking,
networking,
protection,
and then
command interpreter.
command interpreter. Okay, so these are the important components for an operating system. So we will be detailedly studying about what is process management in another outcome. Detail all this is one outcome, one chapter, like it is like one chapter. Any of you will be studying those one later. Now come to what is this process management? What is meant by process? Process, it is a fraction of the program. Whatever the program you run, okay, that program is divided into multiple parts. The program is divided into multiple parts or module. Okay, so the each module is called as the process. The each module is called as the process. For example, I open the Chrome is one application. The Chrome application can be divided into various processes. Like for example, it will search for the domain, it will search, or some Chrome, it will be checking for some security, and then some module or some process it will be checking for your download. Okay, so one applications it will be divided into multiple sub modules, that is called as process. That is called as what? Process. For example, if you want to make you understand, you know calculator? Yes or no? Calculator?
Yes.
Yes, Miss.
Yes,
Yes.
we know.
So in calculator program, you can do addition, you can do subtraction, you can do multiplication, you can do division. Okay. So like addition is one process, subtraction is one process, multiplication is one process, division is one process. So all this will be done at the same time. So one applications you are just going to divide into various process, that is called as process. Here it is a fraction of your program. When you whatever the program you have, it will be divided into, the program will be divided into what? Different parts of process, like P1, P2, P3, like that. Okay, this one, each one will do. Why we want to divide like this, or why we want to do separate as a small part, is because to for easy maintenance and easy task, all those things, that is loaded in the main memory. To execute the whole program, instead of loading the whole program in the main memory, the CPU fetches and executes one instruction of your process after another. Instead of loading one full program, what will the CPU will do, what the process will do, it will take the process P1, process P2 and process P3. It will try to execute as a process, not as a program, not as a program. You understand what I'm telling? Even for Word, you want to type one resume and you want to take the printout. Okay, you have 5 pages. What you can do, you type first page and you give request for print. That is another process. The printer will be doing that job. You're typing it, you're listening to music. All those things, each one is considered to be one process here. One big application will be divided into the process. You know why? Because it is easy for loading and it is easy to execute. It is easy to execute. So what is the task of the process management? Do you want me to repeat or continue?
Continue.
So what are the responsibilities of the process management here is the process management, what it is do. It is, for example, if you go to Lulu, we have the manager. What is the manager? The sales manager. What the manager will do? He will check whether the product is available or not, whether it is over, whether he has to order. All those tasks he will do it as a manager, right? Even in our college we have manager. So many things are there. Managing. So it has to do some responsibilities or it has to do some work. So the first thing what it will do is it will creation of process, loading of process, execution of process, suspension means delete, suspension and start again, resuming and termination of the process. So these are the tasks of the process management. The process management will create, load, execute, suspend, resume and terminate a process. Okay. So what is the process management task? The process management task is to create the process, load the process, execute the process, suspend the process, resume the process, and termination of the process. So all those are the responsibilities of process management. Not only that, scheduling of the process. Scheduling of the process means we have the process P1, P2, P3. The process management will decide which one to execute first. Whether I want to execute P2 first or P3 first or P1 first, which one I need to execute. So the scheduling algorithm we have in chapter 4 that we'll discuss later. In chapter 4, this is one full chapter. Okay, scheduling of the process, that is to switch between multiple processes in the main memory. For example, how many memory is there? Main memory is only one. Am I right or not? The main memory is only one. So if the first process goes here, P2 and P3 will wait. P2 and P3 will wait. After the completion of P1, again P2 will go inside the memory and P3. So scheduling of the process, that is to switch between multiple processes in the main memory. It offers the mechanism of communication between the process, like send or receive data or to or from the process. This is one application. This is one application. The application is divided into the process. So the process will communicate between each other. Process 1 will communicate with process 2, process 2 will communicate with process 3. So there is a communication. It offers the mechanism of communication between the process. How they will communicate? Like send and receive message, like send and receive message or data. P1 will send data to P2. P2 will receive data from P1. So it is like message you are sending, send and receive. It provides a synchronization of shared data to keep shared data consistent. What is meant by synchronization of shared data to keep shared data consistent? For example, you have the process P1 and you have the process P2 and you have only one memory. If process P1, for example, process P1 is doing A minus B and process P2 is doing A plus B or C plus A. You understand what I'm telling? The process 1 is doing A minus B and process 2 is doing C plus A. For example, this is C. C equal to A minus B and process 2 equal to C plus A. Now tell me which process will execute first?
B1.
P1. Why P1? Because P1 is A minus B that I will give to C. So P2 will wait for the result of P1. You understand? Because C, I need to find out C and give the result to P2. That is called as synchronization. That is called as synchronization of shared data to keep shared data consistent. Whatever the value, whatever the result is there, okay, so it should be consistent. For example, you are going to ATM. You are going to ATM. You have 100 real in your account. When you withdraw the money, I withdraw 10 real. What is the balance? I have 100 real. I have 100 real in my account and then I withdraw 10 real. How much in your account?
90 real.
90 real. The answer should be 90 real. If the answer is 90 real, then it is called as consistent. If the answer is 90 real, because see, I am depositing and credit, the credit and deposit. Okay, if the answer is 90 real, then the data is consistent. If your answer is 110, if your answer is 110, is it correct? Or in your account after withdraw 10 you have 110 real, is it correct?
No, mister.
No, because it is inconsistent, the data is not correct. Instead of subtract they are adding it, so the data is not consistent. So it provides a synchronization of shared data and keep the shared data consistent. Next one, it prevents or avoids deadlock situation. It prevents or avoid deadlock situation by properly allocating or deallocating the resources. If there are three processes, these three processes needed some memory. This memory is the resources. This memory is the resources. Okay, if all process trying to access one memory, is it possible? If all process P1, P2, P3 trying to access this memory, is it possible to execute?
No.
No. How it is possible? P1 will execute, P2, P3 will wait, P2 will execute, P3 will wait, P3 will execute. Okay, then it is easy. That is the task of process management. It prevents or avoid deadlock. It prevents or avoid deadlock by properly allocating or deallocating the resources. So once the resource is allocated to P1, the P2 and P3 will not get the resources. It has to wait. Okay, once the task of P1 is over, I'm deallocating the memory from P1 and allocating to P2. You know roundabout, right? Yes or no?
Yes, we know.
Yes. In driving, what you do? Do all the car cross the roundabout at same time?
No.
No. Someone has to wait, right? When one car go inside the round, the other has to wait. Okay, the same thing here. We have only one resources or some resources. You have to utilize the resource properly. How it is done? It is done by the process management. It is done by the process management. Okay, what is the task of the process management? What is process first of all? Process, it is a small fraction of the program. It is, and one more here. Here you don't have a short answer, but in midterm exam you will have the short answer when it is asked define process. For example, I am telling, don't simply write only this. It is a fraction of program. Depends on the mark you have to write. Okay, but now it is only, what is that given? What is it? Multiple choice, true or false. Okay, match the following or fill up the blank. So then you have to read as a statement, statement, statement. Okay, so what is the role of your process now? The role of your process is to create, load, execute, suspend, resume and termination of the process. It will schedule the process. It provides a mechanism for process communication between the process, that is called as IPC, inter process communication. Inter-process communication. You will come to know about this one later. About this deadlock also we have one chapter and even practical about the deadlock. About deadlock, about scheduling. When you study later, it has comes as a chapter. You'll come to know what is scheduling, what we are going to do in the scheduling, what is the scheduling problems are there, what are the different types of schedulings are there, everything. Do you understand what is meant by process management? Huh? What the process will do, what the process will do. Okay, what, not process, how the process is managed, process management. It is the first component of your operating system, the component of the operating system. Next one is what? Like process management, we have the memory management also, main memory management by the operating system. So you know the main memory, what is the use of main memory? To execute a process, it must be loaded into main memory. Without main memory, is it possible, like I have the RAM? Even in your mobile you have RAM. Okay, without RAM, is it possible to open your application? No, it is not possible. So the RAM is needed to load your program, to load your operating system. Okay, to execute a process, it must be loaded into the main memory. So what will happen? By increasing the hit ratio, this component increases system performance. Hit ratio means what? How much you are able to open or how much you are able to store it or search for the particular application or data, that is called as hit ratio. For example, this is my memory. This is my memory. I am storing A, B, C, D, E like this. Okay. I am searching for E. Is it available there? No, 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 no. Yes, it is available. Then it is called as hit ratio is 1. Hit ratio is 1. I am searching for F. I am searching for F. Is F is there in the main memory? Is F is there in the main memory?
No.
No. Then it is called as what? What it is? Dear, tell me. Then it is called as miss. Hit means it is there. Miss means it is not there. Understand? Now I did two search. One is 50%. Yes or no? The hit ratio is 50% and miss ratio is also 50%. One hit and one miss. So if we have the program or data in the main memory, it will increase what? It will increase the hit ratio. Whatever the values which I am searching for, it will be there in your main memory. Then it is easy to utilize, maximum utilize of that particular application or the process. Okay, so what is the responsibilities here? These components keep track of particular memory section utilized by the process. So if it is a memory, I told you, if this is a memory, in this memory we keep track of what process is utilized. P1, P2, P3, like that. So like this, if we have this memory like A, B, C, D, E, say we have P1, P2 and P3. This component, that is main memory management, keep tracks of particular memory section utilized by the process. So the P1 is from 0 to size like 20. The size of the P1 is what? 20 KB. So and P2 it starts from 20 to 30. That means what is the size of P2? What is the size of P1? What is the size of P2 here? What is the size of P1? What is the size of
P1
P2?
0
P1
0
0? No. What is the total size of P1? How it is 0? I told you it starts from 0 to
20.
20. So what is the size of P1? The size of P1 is
20
20. What is the size of P2? It starts from 20 and ends with 30.
30.
That means what? What is the size?
10.
10. Good. Understand? See what is mean by why what I tell, because each process will have its size. Like we have the application. The application is 1 MB, 2 MB, 500 MB, 200 GB or 10 GB. We have the size of the application, right? Similarly, we will be having the size of the process. How much we can load into the memory. So the main memory management keep tracks of those information. As per the requirement, it allocates or deallocate memory to the process. So if my process or my main memory is only 4 GB, how much application I can run? How much application I can run? Is it possible for me to open all the application in my system?
Not
Yeah, that's
possible.
not possible. Why it is not possible? Because the size of the main memory is very small. The size of the main memory is very small, and it is not possible also. It is because I don't have the memory to open all the application. I don't have the space. So what I will do is I will allocate and deallocate. What is meant by allocate? I will open application 1 and run it with this 4 GB, or I will open application after finishing this, close this one and give to application 2 or process 2. So I will get, so if we give memory it allocates, if you remove the memory then it is called as deallocates. That is the task of what? Main memory management. You understand what is meant by main memory management? What it does, it keeps tracks of particular memory section utilized by the process. Not only that, it allocates and deallocates the memory to the process. It allocates and deallocates memory to the process. Okay, continue.
Yes.
Next one, file and storage management. All of you know that we have two types of memory. One is main memory and secondary memory. What is there in main memory? Main memory is to run your application and the process. Okay, whereas the secondary memory, I need the memory to store my files. Secondary storage memory. Most of the data are stored in the secondary memory. You call this one as hard disk. You call this one as what? Hard disk, where you have your C drive and D drive, all those things you have it. So that is what your secondary or file management, where you are storing your file in the main memory or the secondary memory. Where do you store your files? Where do you store your file? You store your files in the main memory or the secondary memory? Dear, do you understand what is main memory? Main memory is primary memory, which is RAM. Secondary memory is your like we have that hard disk is an example for secondary memory. I told you most of the data is stored in the secondary memory, which is called as hard disk. Okay, which is called as hard disk. Therefore, access of secondary storage must be efficient by performance level and convenient to program input output functions at the application level. When you want your files at the time, you can access it. Most of the times we will not use the files, okay, to be stored in the main memory. Only when it is needed, at the time I will bring from the secondary memory into the main memory. Do you always open your Word all the time? Do you open the Word and keep all the time? No.
No.
Only when you need it. This PowerPoint also, when I need it, I open it. When it is needed, then it will load into the main memory. Okay, so most of the time the data is stored in the secondary memory only. Here also, what is the responsibility? It is used to create, manipulate and deletion of files or directories, okay, are the major responsibilities of file management components. You can able to create file, you can able to delete file, you can open the file, you can rename the file, you can cut, copy, paste, okay, all the operations you can do on the file and the directories. Directory means what? Folder. I'm not telling folder. Folder is the directory. So these are some of the responsibilities, and similarly allocation and deallocation, defragmentation blocks, marking of bad blocks, scheduling of several input output requests for performance optimization are some prime responsibility of storage management component. You have the fragmentation concept, right? Allocation, because in this hard disk I store the memory. See here, this is my hard disk. If I go to this PC, I have this local drive C drive and we have this D drive. Okay, I store my folders and files in this D drive. This is my secondary storage device. Some files are allocated. When I delete it, the space will go off, right? I'll get more space. So when you go for this, can you see? You can check for the error, you can optimize, you can defragment the drive. All these things you can do it in your drive. That is the task. I can optimize, I can analyze, fragmented, I can check how much it is fragmented. That is not, the files are not kept together, how much percentage, everything you can analyze. If you analyze, I'll get the percentage of that, how much file it is there. It will be keep on running and then it will tell you how much percentage you need to fragment, because most of the times what we will be doing will be copy paste cut, okay, from one drive to another drive. We are moving files from one system, one drive to another drive. Okay, understand what I'm telling? Yes.
Yes, Mister.
File storage management, what is the responsibility? You can able to create file, you can manipulate the file, you can delete the file, not only the files, even the directories also. And then you are allocating and deallocation. What is meant by allocation? Just now I told you, here if I create one file, here if I create one file or folder, the memory is allocated for this one. Okay, if I delete this one, it is deallocated, it is deallocated. Okay, fine. So see here, even the process management, and then we have the main memory management, we have the file and storage management. Most of the responsibility seems to be same. Most of the responsibility seems to be same. Okay, next one is what? Input output management. Like how we have the device manager, device and sounds and all, it keeps the details away from application to ensure proper utilization of the devices. So how I can communicate with my operating system? I use my input device like my mouse and keyboard, mic, speaker, monitor, okay, printer. All those are devices are there to communicate with my operating system, and operating system manages my keyboard, mouse, everything. The operating system provides an abstract level of hardware devices. It does just give in details about how to use your mouse, how to use your keyboard. Okay, so it keeps the details away from the application to ensure proper utilization of the devices, avoid error, and offers end user an efficient and convenient programming environment. See, when you go to the ATM, the input for the ATM is something different. Yes or no? Dear, do you understand what I'm telling? The input what you're going to give in the ATM is something different. Do you use the mouse there? You press whatever the keys are there in the ATM, and you have like audio also available, like whenever the persons who are going, if he is deaf or if he cannot see, then he can listen to the ATM what it is telling. So what is the input output management? Just I will make it very simplify. The operating system, it manages of your input output devices. It provides an abstract level of hardware devices, how to use it. Okay, so the application, no, it doesn't know about the hardware devices. Just see here, it keeps the details away from the applications to ensure proper utilization of the devices, error, and offers end users an efficient and convenient programming environment. So what is the responsibility here? Keeps away means what? Away means hides the needless details of hardware devices. I don't want any information about my mouse, any information about my keyboard. Do I need any information about my mouse and keyboard and speaker? No, I don't want all those details for the user. If I type, it should type. If I point, it should point. That is what I need, right? I don't want all the details of the hardware devices. So it hides the needless details of the hardware devices. By using cache, buffer, and simultaneous peripheral operations online, it manages main memory for devices. Okay, so the input and output devices, for example, when you are giving the print, if the printer is busy, did it reject your work? No, it will be in queue. It will be in queue. Once the printer is printed for some other person, your printer printing operations will carry on. That is called as what? That is called as what? Cache, buffer, spooling, everything. Okay. It also responsible for providing and maintaining device driver interfaces. For each and every input and output devices, we have the device driver. Without this device driver, your input output devices will not work. For every devices, where to go for the device driver? Someone help me. I don't know. If you go to device manager, all the details about the input output devices, all the devices, I get the details. See audio. So what is the device, or what is the device drivers for that particular driver details? I'm getting all the details about that particular devices. Okay, and it is also responsible for providing and maintaining the device driver interfaces. That is the meaning. It maintains the details of the device driver. So input output management, what it does for you to work the input output, this device driver is needed, and it hides the needless details of the hardware for the user. Okay, and it also provides cache, buffer, and simultaneous peripheral operations. The next one, networking. You know that what is meant by networking. Networking means what? Why you need networking? I want to communicate from one device to another devices. This networking plays a very important role. Okay. In a distributed system, each processor has its own local memory and clock. What is that distributed system? Dear, when you go for this Bank Muscat is a best example for distributed system. We have so many branches. We have even this Omantel. We have so many branches. Each branches have their own local memory. They have their own process, and they have their own server in the particular branch. Okay, that will communicate with other branch. Okay, yes or no? See, here we have the system in Sohar, Bank Muscat system in Saham, or no Saham, your Liva. Okay, so they have their own processor and their own memory, everything. These two devices, is it possible for you to communicate in the network? Yes or no? This is computer 1 and computer 2. They can both can communicate in a distributed system. There is a communication line known as a network through which processor communicates with each other. So for example, if they want to send the application from Sohar branch to the Liva branch, they can able to send it, or from they can access it. The manager sitting here can see the manager what he is doing, or he can send the request, he can send the application, loan applications, or the credit debit applications of the particular customer. Do we always use one bank? For example, my bank is in Sohar. Do you always go and do the process there? No, I can go in Sinas also. I can do it in Liva also. How is it possible for them to access my account? That is through the network. This network may be partially or fully connected. Whenever the request is made, they will make the request and they can connect the network. That is called as partially, or fully connected means always connected. Okay, the operating system simplifies network access in the form of file access along with the details of networking of various network interfaces. So the operating system makes us simplify about the details of the networking, how the process it is working. So what is happening in networking? Why we need network? So we want to make the process to communicate from one system to another system over the network. So that is possible if we have this operating system and we have the networking management concepts. The next one, protection means security, providing security for your resources, for users, okay, for all the components, for devices, everything. So this component provides protection from erroneous programs or some bugs and malicious programs, some virus, and to the hardware resources, kernel code, process, files and data. So is it possible anyone can access your system? Can anyone access your system without your knowledge? Is it possible? Is it possible for them to enter into your system?
No.
No.
No, Mr.
Why? No. Why? Because this operating system plays a very important role. They have their security level. They have the security level, providing security for your resources, for the user, for the kernel, for the operating system, for the process, for your file, for your data, everything we need to provide security. Okay. And next one, command interpreter. Command interpreter means how the user is communicating with your operating system. This component permits the end user to interact with the operating system and offer the user a compatible environment for the programming. Now I want to show you the presentation. How this presentation is shown to you? I have the software called as MS PowerPoint. Using that software, the operating system allows me to use that software. See, in Windows, we have so many, all the Microsoft products are supported in Windows. We have Mac. Okay, so that Mac operating system has its own environment. Similarly, we have Linux. This Linux has its own operating system. Do we have MS Office package in Linux? No, there it is something different environment. How the user is interacting with the operating system. That is called as command interpreter. So what are the main components of the operating system? What are the main components of operating system? First one, tell me, what are the main components of operating system? First one is what?
Process.
Yes, good. First one is process management. Next one. See, when you study about the process management, what is this responsibility? Everything you have to know. Okay. Process management. Then just now only I take the class. Tell me. What is the second
memory.
main memory management? Badan? Hmm? Come on, tell me. Process management, main memory management, and then
File storage.
Networking.
networking, good, and then file storage management, then
Input output.
yes, good, input output management, then protection and command interpreter, right? Dear, I'm asking you some question. Please try to understand operating system components, process management, main memory manage. See, management. The operating system deals with process. Operating system deals with main memory. Operating system deals with file. Operating system deals with IO. Operating system deals with networking. Operating system deals with protection, and it deals with user command interpreter. That's it. See, whatever use um, just see here in the control panel. It deals with system and security. The system and security is what? What is system and security here? Protection, right? Yes or no? It deals with networking and internet. Networking. It deals with hardware and sound, input output management. It deals with program, that is called as process management. It deals with user accounts, how to interact with the users. We have command interpreter. Okay, and if we go to that D drive, we have that file storage management. So that is what we are seeing here, components of. So what is process management? What is the responsibility? So what is main memory management? What is the responsibility? What is file and storage management? What is the responsibility? What is input output management? What is this responsibility? It is very simple here. If you know the concept, what is process, what is main memory, what is file, what is input output management, what is networking, what is protection, and what is command interpreter, that's it. Okay,
Okay.
fine. Now up to this you have for quiz. Up to this you have for quiz. Till this you need to study. And next, for operating system services, this component and services are more or less same. Components and services are more or less same. Services means it's just like a function, what it is going to do. What are the different types of services you can have? Okay, so here the operating system services, you studied about command interface, right? So that is called as what? Just compare here. We have the command interpreter. What is the use of command interpreter? User interface. Command interpreter is for what? User interface. See, both are same. Similarly, we have input output management. Input output management for what? Input output operation. We have the process management. Process management is for what? Program execution. Similarly, it is used for communication. And we have file storage system. File storage system is for what? To perform file system manipulation. And this process management also, we have this error detection, resource allocation, accounting, protection and security. See, it is same like components. The services is same like component, but only the name change. Only the name change. Like command interpreter, it is for user interface, input output management, program execution, communication, file system manipulation. Okay, and then error detection, resource allocation, accounting. Accounting means keep track of all the informations about user, resources, devices, everything. Resource allocation, how much resource is allocated for each process, allocation and deallocation. If there is any error in the program or error in the system, error detection, if my mouse is not working, who will tell the mouse is not working? I will tell you, or you will tell me? Who will tell you the mouse is not working? Who will tell you, dear, the mouse is not working, or RAM is not working, or motherboard is not working? Who will tell you? How you get the information that is not working? Through the operating system. Okay, fine. So do you understand the difference between the services and the operating component, system components? Don't get confused, both are more or less same, just they change the name here, but the functionality, everything, whatever I'm going to tell, it is same like that. User interface, how you are giving the command to the operating system. User can issue commands to the system by means of user interfaces, either it is GUI or CLI. Either, already we studied in chapter 1 this one, either CLI or GUI. Okay, so this is how you interact with your operating system. It depends on the different types of operating system, how you use it. And the input output operations, transferring of data to and from input output devices like keyboard, monitoring, storage devices are the primary functions of the operating system. So how, whatever the command you give through the keyboard or through the mouse or through the speaker, through the mic, or how it is transferred from one device to another devices, everything is taken care by the input and output operations. So user commands, how the user is interacting with the operating system, either CLI or GI. Input output operations, how the input and output devices are working or allowing to work with the operating system. The next one is what? Program execution. Program execution, you need the random access memory, that is RAM, to open my application and load the application, run the application and terminate the application. Where and all you can see that one, my program is executed or not, or my program is running or not. If you go to task manager, I have the list of program here, or list of application here, or list of process here. See, this is my process. I have my notepad, I have my explorer, all those are running now. See here, Chrome, PowerPoint, Team, Notepad, Task Manager, Windows Explorer, all those are running. It is running, and these are the background process. These are the background process. These are the different types of services which is running. So what is the CPU utilization? What is this memory? What is the disk? What is the network management? All the details are given. So program execution and communication, I told you IPC. What is IPC? Inter-process communication takes place either between the process on separate processor or separate machines or on the same processor. So one applications will be divided into different types of process, P1, P2 and then P3. P1, P2 and P3. So they communicate. So that is possible because of this inter-process communication with the same process, same processor or different processor, or in the same machine or different machine. If it is or the separate machine, if it is separate machine, we use what? We use network. It can be implemented either by passing message or shared memory, or some systems provided by both. Okay, that's what I told you. Either you send message and receive message. Message passing means by sending the message and receiving the message. Just check out here. Here it provides the provides the communication between the process, send or receive data, send or receive messages. That is called as inter-process communication, either by sending or receiving messages or through the common shared data. What is meant by common shared data? This common shared data is like, for example, for both the system you will have one common memory. Both can access at the same time. That is called as shared memory. For process P1 or system 1 and system 2, they will not have the memory, they can share the memory commonly. For example, how I communicate with you? What are the different ways I communicate with you? You tell me, dear. How I communicate with you, with the student? Come on, tell me fast. How I communicate with the student? What are the different modes of communication with the student? Do you understand my question? Do you understand my question? Oh God, please come, tell me. How I communicate with you? In what are the
By
different ways?
network.
By network. Hamid, okay. By network it is fine. I communicate with you either through mail, through WhatsApp, through e-learning, through Teams. Yes or no? Through phone. If it is through WhatsApp, I send and receive message. I send you the message and I receive the message. But if I put something in e-learning, that is common for you and me, right? I put it in e-learning, you take it from there. That is shared. That is shared. Okay. So there are the systems where you have the shared memory. Shared memory. Message passing is something different. Shared memory is something different. Okay. Fine. Communication, how you do the communication. Next one, file system manipulations for file management. So file system manipulations, you know that file system manipulation is managing your files like read, write, copy, paste, all those things of your files and directories. Along with the storage of data, the operating system is also responsible for maintaining the directory and subdirectory structure, mapping of file names to the memory blocks, and for navigating using the files. File system manipulation, how the operating system is helping for you to manage your file system and your directory is nothing but your folder. And error detection, if there is any problem in your hard disk, if there is any problem in any one of your hardware, okay, not only with the hardware, if there is any problem with the program also, the operating system insists that you are not possible, because sometimes the operating system will allows only the 64-bit application, sometimes 32-bit application. So based on that, if this operating system does not support, it will tell you the error and it will tell you you are not supposed to use this application. Both software and hardware error must be properly detected and handled with minimum harmful impact. So the operating systems helps you lot in handling your hardware and softwares also. Okay, so the example here for that here is redundant array of inexpensive disk, RAID error, and other redundant systems for error avoidance and recovery systems. For example, RAID means, what is meant by RAID? I run one company. If I have only one hard disk and I store all the data in one hard disk, that hard disk corrupted one day, what will my company will go? My company also will get corrupted. Yes or no? Yes or no? I have one company. I store all the informations in one hard disk. That hard disk clashed or corrupted, gone. Now I need data for my company. Is it possible to get data from this hard disk which is crashed?
No.
Because I have
Yes.
only one hard disk. Over. My system,
You
everything
can.
is over. Finish. So now what I will do here is, I have one hard disk. I will have another hard disk. I will have another hard disk like this. Disk of array, redundant array of inexpensive disk. This disk is not expensive, it is inexpensive. That is called as RAID, redundant array. Redundant means what? Repeat again and again. See, for example, I store one, the same one I will store here, the same one I will store here. If this one is gone, I can take from here. If this one is also gone, I can take it from here. This is called as what? Array, redundant array of inexpensive disk. Okay. And resource allocation, you know that what is meant by resources. Resource means what for operating system? First tell me that. What are the resources for an operating system? Anyone, can you help me out? Because I keep on telling this resource. What is meant by resource in the operating system? Resource means what? I told you in the chapter 1 also. Resource allocation means what? What you allocate for the user? You allocate memory? Yes or no? You allocate the secondary storage? You allocate the CPU? So all these things, you allocate the bus. Bus is transferring the data from one component to another component. So all these are called as resource. Memory, disk, CPU, bus, all those different resources like the main memory, CPU cycles, file storage are managed by the operating system. Remember what is meant by resource in the operating system. And accounting, keep track of system activity to optimize feature performance. Many times we have seen that there is an activity log in, even in hardware I teach you. You can see the activity log of software, hardware, user, who has logged in, when he logged in, what and all the activity he has done, everything I can see. That is called as accounting. Why? It is to improve the performance, future performance. And the last one is protection and security. So what is this protection and security? I need to provide protection for my hardware, for your data, for my system, for my operating system from the unwanted access of resources or unwanted user, okay, or malicious outsider. For that we have what? How we are doing? We are doing authentication, we are having ownership, we have restricted access, provides protection and security to the operating system. If anyone want to log into the system, the first thing they need my username and password. Even for the operating system itself, I can set my password. So that is the authentication. And ownership. So ownership means what? If I have any file, I can tell who can access that particular file, who cannot access. I can set the security for my one. For example, this folder, I can set the security for that. See here, sharing, security, who can do it, authenticated user, system, administrator, users. What are the different types of permissions I can give for that particular file? So that is allowed because of this operating system. Okay, understand? So just I am repeating the component, nothing much. See, that's all about the operating system services. I'll stop with this now, as of now. Okay, the theory is more now. I think many of you are sleeping, huh? In today's class, you studied about what are the operating system components and what are the operating system services. If we study the component, the same thing only will repeat here also. There is no much difference. There is no much difference. Just they are splitting all those components into services: user interface, input output management, program execution, that is process management, communication is also process management. Okay, do you understand here?
Yes, Mr.
Thank you. Others, what about others?
It's clear, Mr. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, and other things, I have only two topic. One is system program and another one is system call. I'll take it later. Okay, only these two slide is pending. Now I want to do the practical. I'll stop with this now, as of now. Okay, I'll stop the recording also. For theory, I'll just stop for this.